Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode number two of Talk Around Town with Mr. Jeff Edwards and yours truly, Scott Hall, here with you today. And we're having some fun with this podcast. Jeff's been diligently working on all the technology behind putting it on video, and it's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're getting there technologically. And hopefully, you guys are going to follow us and have some fun with our just talk around town here. What do
Absolutely.
you think, Jeff? How you doing,
Good.
man?
How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just sitting here in the studio. Got through doing an interview this morning with some fun people, and having a chance to talk to you is always a good time. And what are we going to do today?
Oh, I don't know. Just talk like we always do, I guess. We have we have a good time doing that. So,
Yeah, we're never at a loss for words. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on out there in the world, and a lot going on with the music biz. And you guys, you've been playing a little bit and getting a chance to get your vocals out there to people. How's that feel?
feels so good. I love playing, of course. So, got to play this past weekend. Got actually offered another gig. Short term notice. Somebody canceled. Somebody needed something going on, and hey, can you play? And unfortunately, it's Christmas time, and we're gonna hopefully be traveling. So we'll see how that goes.
I hope so for your sake, and you get to do what you want to do. Because so many people having to cancel plans, so many events being canceled. It's kind of a shame, but you're right about the gigs. So pop-up gigs are going on. I'm seeing them. I get that list every week that we produce of who's playing out on our radio show, and it's amazing at the amount of last-minute changes I'm seeing. Somebody got sick in this band, couldn't play, so boom, we're bringing this band in for a one-night shot or something. So it's a little flexible right now and a little fluid, and that's good though that people are still getting out to play though, because I was so worried we were going to be in a shutdown after our last episode. We thought the governor was going to come through with that, and I'm glad we're not right now. We're still being able to get people out and hear some live music.
Oh, I know. If he goes to shut everything down again, I think I might absolutely go crazy. So hopefully it doesn't
Just
get to that.
Get into the bourbon, brother. That's where you need to be.
Yeah, that's where I need to be. I need more bourbon. So,
Yeah, better hit the liquor store or something there if they do that again.
I know.
Wow.
Stock up. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of that whole shutdown thing. It was a bad time for all of us.
But are you you doing anything for Christmas? You going anywhere? Doing anything?
No, I think we're staying in here. Got the kids here. Of course, we have a son that's in Alaska. He's in the Army up there, and he just got engaged. And we were hoping to be able to connect with him over Christmas and have him come down, but they're not going to be able to travel because the restrictions the military's kind of putting on some folks and him. So that's unfortunate. But we'll have some family here, and we're just going to hang out around the house and enjoy our holiday, just like we did with Thanksgiving, and on a smaller scale than we're used to doing. I mean, just some people, my parents, I haven't seen them in person since a little one-time car chat between car to car at an interstate stop. Other than that, I haven't seen them since March, and that's tough. They're in their 80s, and I'd love to be able to hang out with them. But
I know it's the same with me. I haven't seen when everything kicked off. My parents basically decided, they're not going anywhere, they're not doing anything, so they're staying home, and they're 75. They're both 75, so. I mean, I don't blame them, but it makes it hard for us to see them. They're, maybe 4 or 5 hours away. So it's hard to go down for just one day. I have a sister that still lives there, and so she can see them, and they'll drive over and, hang out in the backyard or whatever. But now that it's cold, it's like, now what are you going to do? So, and it's unfortunate, we were planning to go there this summer. We were planning to go there for last spring break. So I haven't seen them in what seems like forever. I just, nobody's getting any younger. So I want to enjoy some time with them while I can. So,
it reminds me, the other day I was driving down the road and past this assisted care facility that's near my house. And I saw the most heartbreaking thing, man. There is this family. It's cold outside, and they are standing outside a window with signs and all that because obviously they have a loved one in that room. And, that was their way of being able to communicate with them, the only way they had to connect. And I just thought to myself, what a horrible thing for both sides of that. The family who wants to be there with their loved one, and the loved ones who's so alone, I'm sure, in these facilities. All the people in there, I'm sure, are nice, but it doesn't make up for your family. And that's that was a picture that I'll never forget. The little kids holding the signs up for maybe grandma or something in there, and it just is kind of heartbreaking.
Oh, it is. That's awful. I can't imagine, and to be on either side, to be on the side where, you're inside looking out, just wanting to see them and give them a hug or whatever, and then on the other side where you have to be the one holding the sign. So
Yeah,
that's awful.
really, really rough.
So
And there's a lot going on too, like you were saying in the music biz with everybody in the, like you said, these bookings and last minute pop up gigs and things. But it's getting tougher and tougher, you see, for musicians to get in because so many venues are cutting back because they're just not making the money. And and you feel for everybody in the restaurant, nightclub industry, service industry, because they are out there every day working, trying to come up with creative ways to how can we get people in our venue and fill the venue with every table we're allowed to have every minute we're open so we make money. And I feel for them. Some of them were on a great roll. I mean, there were some venues around us here that just were booming.
Oh,
And now it's so tough, and they just don't have that cash to pay a band,
no, and that's true. I mean, we've lost several gigs because of that. They tried to keep everything going in the beginning, and they were just paying out of pocket. They were losing so much money, they said. And then I just had some conversation the other day with another venue owner, and I mean, they're losing, tens of thousands of dollars a month just trying to stay open. And I can respect them for doing that. I mean, that's a lot when you just want to, you've got that drive to keep your business going. But I guess what else are you going to do? But
well, I think it's a roll of the dice, don't you? I mean, you could shut down and save yourself a lot of money. The rent still goes on, and the electric bill still goes on, and all that.
You still have to pay the bills.
Then you lose your relevance with your customer base too. I mean, if there's people that are regular customers of yours, it's unfortunate, but it's a way of the world. They'll find a place to go, that's open, and it may become their new home where you used to be their home.
Right. And so then what happens?
Gosh, I feel for these people so much, and the creativity some of them are putting out. I mean, going to breakfast, doing breakfast in a bar and things like that is just, to me, I mean, it shows the mentality behind this business is strong, and the people are working hard. But musicians and owners are having a tough time getting this worked out. And I know a lot of the musicians who've said, "I'll play cheaper. I'll play, because I want to keep playing."
We've done it. We've taken big cuts just to say, "Hey, just remember us. Once everything gets back to going, this won't be our price forever, but we want to keep playing. We want to keep the venues relevant and want to keep them open." And then that's the other side of it too. The people who have canceled with us and said, we just can't afford bands. And I said, I get it. That's fine. Just remember when you start booking to call us. I would much rather a venue stay open than to pay me, oh, well, we're going to let you play one more time, and then you keep doing that and you keep doing that, and eventually the bar closes. I would much rather them cancel all the music to stay open and keep their lights on, so in 6 months or whatever it is, when they decide that they want to start having music back again, they call us up and said, "Hey, come out and play. We're still here," rather than they're boarded up and nobody's there anymore. So I'd much rather them stay open and not play for the time being, and to be able to play in 6 months. So
amen to that. And you book a lot when you're playing, when the COVID's not around. You're out there and you're booking your own shows and things. If I were a young musician and I was just starting out, and I asked Jeff Edwards, I said, "Man, tell me, what's your advice to get booked in a place?" What would you say? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that are starving. They don't know how to deal with the venue owner and how busy they are,
I think that's a lot of things that some people take for granted. When I message, first off, I want to be on their radar. So when we get asked to play some of these things, some of these benefits, Acoustapalooza and some of these different things, of course we can't do that all the time, because if I played an event every time that somebody wanted us to play a benefit, we would just play benefits all the time and we'd never get paid. So
I agree. Yeah.
But you want to do some of them so that way you're on the radar of the venue owners. And so if you can get on the radar of the venue owners and they hear you and see you, maybe they like you, and you're a great fit for that place, then you send them a message, call them, go in there. I want to do face-to-face. I like face-to-face. So since I don't personally use Facebook, it makes it difficult for me to reach venue owners. So that's where some of these benefits do come in handy. I've gotten into different places down in Springboro from playing the benefits, because all the venue owners are there, and then they're like, hey, we like you. And then I'll walk over to them, talk to them, introduce myself, get their number, exchange information. I'm a big face-to-face person. The second thing is, so that's the big thing for me, is face-to-face. And then the second is understand that the venue owners are very busy. That they're not just there to book the bands, that they have a staff to run, they've got a business to run, they've got, somebody calls in sick and now they've got to go work for 16 hours. So, and understand that. So I'll message a venue owner and I may not hear back for days or weeks. And then sometimes I'll message them again, kind of give them a little nudge and say, hey, don't forget, we want to get booked. And then eventually, it might be another week. And I've been in the middle of conversations with venue owners, texting back and forth, where they just stop texting, and then I don't hear from them for another, 4 or 5 days. And they're like, oh, hey, we never finished this. Do you want this date? So that's the thing that you just have to be aware of, is that they're busy, and then they're not there just to answer your text the moment that you text them.
No, and some beer rep walked in at the moment and took them away because they wanted to sell them a new product or whatever. And people, I get so many musicians who tell me, I'm not playing that place because I messaged them and they never answered me back. Well, understand, musicians, that, that owner is ordering chicken wings. They are making sure that their bar is up to the COVID standards right now. And then on the other side of it, and I'll use Mr. Burroughs, you mentioned earlier, in that as an example. I'll use them as an example. I was in there the other night, and it was for your show, actually, and there's Rick and Marcy, and they're cleaning tables. They're when somebody gets up, they're cleaning the table, spraying it with the disinfectant, doing all that stuff, because their staff is slamming busy, because they've had to, first of all, cut staff due to the size of the thing. Normally where they'd have 3 or 4 people working the floor, they've got 2 and all that. So please, if you're a musician and you're watching this, guys, take a little advice from Jeff and myself here, just with, give them time, give them that message. A couple of weeks later, send them another message if you don't hear from them. Stay relevant, like Jeff said, on the radar, but don't be overly bugging. And Jeff, do you think, I used to be a firm believer in EPKs, or electronic press kits, and all that kind of stuff. But what I hear now of the venue owners, they just don't have time to sort through those things. Now, if it's a big venue and you're looking to be an opening act at the Phrase or the Rose, yes, they'll look through an EPK or something.
You're not getting in there without it. So
no, they want that stuff. But for your local bar and grill, these people, first of all, if you've never played there, they're going to go look at your social media. They're going to see how many followers you have. And then they're going to look at your videos. And I can't stress enough, all your fans and people that follow you are great people. They take videos all the time of you playing. But if somebody posts a video of you on your page and you totally sound sucky, take it down.
That's the big thing that I do. If we ever go live,
there are good nights and bad nights.
Yeah. If we ever go live, as soon as the show's over, if not that night, then maybe the next day, I will go back and review the video. And if somebody, other than just me, if anybody in the band messed up, if the guitar player messed up, if the bass player, the drummer, if somebody in the crowd said something, because, we don't want to say anything inappropriate, right? Because we've lost gigs in other bands that I was in before. We would do a song that maybe had a lot of cussing in it, and that would maybe be the only one we'd do. One that just drops a couple of F-bombs here and there, and they're like, oh, well, we were going to book you for this festival, but we can't have you playing that kind of music at the festival, so, you guys are really good, but... Yeah. So if
you lose,
if anybody does anything inappropriate on the video, if they do, and it does not necessarily just the band, it could be somebody in the crowd, that video is gone in 2 seconds, because you don't want to be associated Unless that's the kind of stuff that you're doing. I mean, if you're doing that kind of stuff and you want to be that kind of band, then you can be that kind of band. There's, but for us and what we're doing, that's not what it is. So
God love the fans of music, and so many of them take videos, and sometimes I have to sort it out in my head, and then I realize that that person that was singing off key is not the singer in the band, but it's the person taking the video who's singing along with the song. And again, that doesn't do you any favors when somebody's looking at your page and saying, do I want to book this band or not? You need to put your best foot forward. And I did a video for a local artist and that I love. And after looking at the video, even though we staged it, we were doing an EPK video and all that, I just realized that it really didn't make them look the way I wanted them to look. There was a lot of, first of all, the bar was fairly empty. It was people there that were their friends, kind of the audience and all that. And it just wasn't the look. I would have rather taken a video of that person when they're playing a performance and having a good night versus trying to stage it because it just didn't work. And we never did produce it because of that, because I don't think it would have done them any favors.
It's no different than when we take pictures. We've played in some of these venues that unless you've got 300 people there, you look like you're playing to nothing. But there might be 100, 150 people there, and it just looks like the crowd's okay. And if there's a bad picture that shows just hardly anybody there, and you've got a huge floor, and even though there's 20 people dancing on it, if it looks like that's a super small crowd, and like, well, they can't even pull a crowd. Look at their audience there. Right. You can't get those things in the perspective, So I won't post certain pictures or videos. And so
I learned that from a concert promoter once. He told me never take a picture that shows an empty room. If you get up and show the band, take it up tight, but don't sit back in the back and show that we have, 400 seats empty in the VIP section or whatever. That just doesn't look good. And it happens. It happens. And there's good nights and bad nights. And you wish some nights that you could get your own pictures and take the perspective you want, but you're on stage, and I find that, I try when I come into a venue and I see somebody play, I try to snap a few shots just to use on my page, but sometimes they turn out well. And sometimes, the lighting's not right, this and that. And I know I've had bands call me and say, hey, could you take that one picture down? I look really, really bad in that picture. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm sorry, but you try to promote and do things, but it has to be done if you're going to try to get booked by somebody in a professional manner.
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest thing is, and unfortunately, social media is a big thing. One of the venue owners had some friends of mine, great band. They said, hey, we've been trying to get into some of these venues. Can you put in a good name for us? Sure. You guys are really good. You guys play good stuff. That venue would love you. And I would talk to them, and they're like, how many followers do they have? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, unless they have over 1,000, I won't even talk to them. I'm like, okay. And so I told them that. So that's their big thing is now you got to get this push. Right now, fortunately, that's how Route 88's gotten several gigs because, we don't have the following on Facebook because we started from scratch. And so it's not a huge following. And even though people say, oh, I love your band, you guys are great, you're so good, well, follow us. Just click the like button and, so that way our numbers go up. You don't have to get every post notification or whatever, but it does help. And fortunately for us, that's maybe one of the only good things about all this craziness that's gone on is we can go into these venues smaller and say, hey, you know what, we'll cut you a deal. This is what we would normally charge, and normally you probably wouldn't even book us. But since nobody's up dancing, nobody can do anything, you can't leave their tables, we might be a perfect fit. And so what do you think? Give us a shot. And they gave us the shot and said, all right, we really like you. So you have to be able to bend as well as the artist going in and book that. So that's the other piece of advice I would give is be willing to work with the venue owner on things and work with them on price and get your foot in the door for less than what you think you should make. And then they'll have you back and say, okay, book me 2 or 3 times at this price. And then if you like us and we fit and the crowd likes us, then we're going to bump it back, then we'll bump it to what our normal full price is. But that seems to be like a taboo topic amongst...
Price is a taboo.
I don't understand that, because if I go into a venue for one price and there's another band that's, I would say equivalent talent-wise and fan-wise and things like that, and they want to charge double and triple, that's going to eventually hurt that band because I'm undercutting them. So right. If we give the same quality work and the same performance and the same crowd, why are they going to pay this band 2 or 3 times the amount when they can pay us? And so that ends up hurting them, and now they're going to start losing out. So if we would all kind of just talk to each other and say, hey, just everybody ballpark it,
It doesn't have to be a musicians union where we set a prevailing wage, but I think the bar owners that I really admire, Jeff, are the ones that set a price and say, this is what we pay for a 4-piece band, or what we pay for, and this is our price. Now, you guys want to play for that price? Great. If you don't, no hard feelings,
I think that's a great way to do it. It works.
It does. And then it loses some of that animosity between bands and there are a lot of people, and I will say, and if you want to play for a $50 gig as a solo artist, that's your choice, right. But that doesn't help the industry.
No.
When a venue can say, well, I can have him for $50, or I can have Jeff for $200, or I can have,
right.
They're going to weigh their odds out on a Wednesday night and say, well, I'll take the $50 gig and roll the dice, and if nobody's here, I don't lose any money. That's a tough pill to swallow, I think, but it's happening. And, and most guys don't want to talk price. If you talk to other bands, we charge between this and this, they won't really tell you what their going rate is.
I've never had a problem with it. This is our ballpark, and it depends on what we're doing too. So that's the other thing. That's the thing about Route 88. That's the first question out of my mouth to anybody who calls us that we've never played before and said, hey, a private party. Hey, what do you charge to play for this or this? Well, what do you want? Are you looking for acoustic? Are you looking for laid back? Are you looking for full-on production with lights and smoke and the whole 9 yards? So that's going to determine the price. And more often than not, I'll give them the option. If you just want an acoustic duo because you just want something sitting in the corner, background music, just to fill some dead air and actually have live music as opposed to a jukebox, this is the price. And then if you want full band, stand-up electric, party, lights and smoke and the whole 9 yard, this is the price. So,
right.
And we can meet.
And that all takes money.
Yeah, and then we can all meet in the middle somewhere too. Well, and the time, that's the biggest factor. When you show up, if you need to set a full stage up, we're there 2 hours at least, more often than not, to set everything up. And if it's like full big band,
sound guy,
some of those guys get there 4 hours lighting.
Early. Yeah, absolutely. So, and our friend Jason Baker, who did Acoustapalooza for us, he's one that, he's a perfectionist with his sound. He wants to make sure everything is right, and it takes him a while to get that set. He brings it in, he rolls it in, he troubleshoots everything, he checks every mic line, every this or that. That's time consuming, and that costs money.
Oh, everything.
Yeah, I laugh at people that say, "Oh, I want to hire a sound guy for $100." Well,
good luck.
Yeah, that doesn't even cover the first 3 cables he's strung up there on the stage, or a mic stand or two. So. Yeah, they've got to recoup their money somewhere, and most people don't get into this business to become rich, but they enjoy doing it. And we've talked about that. We talked about that a little bit in the last show. It's not the money, but it gets to be a point of contention, like you say, of, who's playing for what money. And I could go out and, I could probably strap a guitar on my hip and go get booked with the little bit I can play, get booked if I played for $25 a night.
Oh. Yeah.
I could probably be steady and look like, oh man, that guy's killing. He's working 5, 6, 7 nights a week. But are you really doing it?
Right.
If you're going to do it for that, just play for free and do it for the love of it.
And you know what? I've actually talked to some guys who've done that a couple of times just to help venues out. I was helping book for a couple places just to kind of, get their feet wet with, having music. You know, they wanted it, and I wasn't charging them anything to book or do whatever, and I would book them and get them in there, and they're like, we have to stop. You know, so a little bitty small venue, but they're like, we can't afford it, you know, and they weren't paying much. Only played a couple hours, which was great, but, you know, some of these guys are like, well, I'm just going to go play for free. You know, I like the place, I like the owner, I like the crowd, it's fun. I just want to keep them going. So that's the other thing. It's, you know, you kind of give back a little bit. That's why sometimes we don't mind doing some of these benefits when we can to help out. One, it gives back to whatever the cause is, and then the other is, you know, venue owners see that, other people see that, and then they'll call on you more. It's just, it's a great way to meet other musicians too that we never get to see because we're always playing. So then you get to meet all these other musicians, and if there's a gig that comes up and hey, we can't do this, you know, we had to cancel last minute. Do you want to take it? We've also had some people call us, say, hey, they're looking for this type of group. We don't fit the bill. They reached out to me. I think you guys would be perfect for it. So,
and those benefits, I can't stress that enough to people. If you're play an occasional benefit, there's a great return on investment there. Even though you play for free a lot of times, and you step up on that stage and give an hour of your time, just like Acoustapalooza. I've heard more artists out of Acoustapalooza say they got 4 or 5, 6, maybe even a standing gig somewhere because of that, and nobody would have ever heard them in the area otherwise. So, you know, it's a great thing to do, and you don't want to do them every day. I get asked to MC benefits nonstop, and there's some I can do and some I can't. And I try to space that out to do them 4 or 5 a year versus, you know, I could do them every weekend, and that, you know, that doesn't pay the bills for the studio here.
Right.
So
absolutely.
That's part of that as well. So, well, how's our time looking? I think we've run way over, haven't we?
We're probably just a few minutes over 20 minutes, so I think it's good.
Okay.
Anything else you got to chit chat about? Anything else going on?
No.
You got a lot going on this weekend?
Yeah, I've got a special trivia I'm doing that's going to be the show's going to air after that, but I'm doing that down in Montgomery, and then have some really cool stuff coming up through the holidays that we're going to do with interviews with some bands on our page, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm working on as I was saying on the last show, the Brady Bunch type squares, do the Zoom type interviews with bands. And just the story behind the bands, really not getting in too much into the music side, more to how they get their name, how they form, how often do they play, and where can you find them type stuff. Right. So that'll be fun for me. I always enjoy picking the brains of people and, you know, what made them write a song. I interviewed DeMoss and Garrett one time from Until Rust and, you know, for their new album. And that was a cool thing to hear the background behind some of the songs they put on that album they just put out. So that's the kind of stuff I want to do, and makes me happy to do for the music community, Jeff.
Cool. That sounds nice. So that's, well, I mean, hopefully everybody will start subscribing, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Scott, I'll put a link to your YouTube on my page. We'll get this posted on YouTube. We'll put it from Facebook to YouTube, so that way hopefully more people can start finding it. But I think that's what we're going to start doing, is posting everything on YouTube, so that way we can see who's watching and how long you're watching and what you want to hear, and shoot us some comments. You know, hit the comments below and tell us what you want to hear and who you want to see, because we're going to start interviewing people and start bringing people on. So who do you want to hear from, and what do you want to hear about, you know, other things. So I like that topic that you brought up, is how the names came about. So that could be a good topic for next time, is how bands got their names. So
there's some great stories behind that. And other ones that'll just laugh and say, you know, we heard it on TV and it was like, boom, that's our name, you know. So I mean, it as quick as that, or it takes days and months and years to name a band. So those are fun. Those are fun topics. And everybody overanalyzes, I think, a little bit on the name part. It's kind of fun to hear that they you know, they're like, oh, we like this name, we didn't do this name. Look back in time, look up online sometime all the major acts, like, you know, Led Zeppelins and Rolling Stone, what they were called and how many band name changes they had throughout their lives. And that's kind of fun to see. And when they finally settled on something, and a lot of times it was the popularity that settled on the name versus the band. Some of them didn't necessarily like their name, you know.
Right.
So it's but once you gain all that popularity and branding, so to speak, I think you are stuck with it. Just like Route 88. I mean, it's a household name.
I mean, I'm hoping it'll eventually become a household name.
It is, man.
If people go out and
No.
start liking our page. So,
Well, yeah,
shameless
we
plug
love you
there.
guys' sound and good stuff, and you guys. I mean, you killed it the other night when I got to see about an hour of your set. You were doing a great job. The
thank
crowd
you.
was into it, and that's fun. So
Thank you.
that's where we're at here.
So-
I don't know. I think your timer's slow. My timer says we've gone way over.
Yeah, I think we're about 30-something minutes now. So,
Yeah,
we probably ought
but
to
that's
wrap it
okay.
up.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. But subscribe to our YouTube channels. Yours is
I haven't actually named it, so it's youtube.com/bunch of numbers, but it'll be on there.
okay. Well, they can find the link on Route 88.
They'll find the link on Route 88, so
All
I'll
right,
hit the link
yeah,
over
and
there. And then I'll do the same for yours, so shoot me your YouTube link,
Right.
and I'll post that as well. I'm going to post it on Instagram. We've got our Instagram stuff on the screen right there, so you can see us. Go hit us up on Instagram.
the Insta. And hit us up on Facebook at Haul Around Town Radio and YouTube at Haul Around Town that we have. And you can find all the content that we're putting out and some other good music content locally. And
My YouTube is
like
my
to share.
personal page, so it's just Jeff Edwards, spelled
Okay.
Geoff. So, but if
GEOFF.
they put Talk Around Town, we should be the second or third video on there if they want to do a search on YouTube. But,
Perfect. Sounds good, man. Thank you so much for your production work
Oh,
here on this
you
too.
bet. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully this time we will not look like a bad Japanese movie with our lips not matching the vocals. We'll
Hope so.
see. You never know. I mean, there's little bugs to work out in all this because we're running from Skype to another software platform to recording to putting it up on the channels, and it's
having to
it's a
convert it and
process.
then
yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah,
Well, thanks,
it's a
Jeff.
process, but it's good. It's fun. Gives me something to do during the day.
There you go.
So,
Well, I thank
all
you.
right,
man.
guys. Until next time, we'll see you, Scott.
We'll see you, Jeff. Thanks for
Bye, everybody.
talking around town today, man.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.